Daily Q, we back. Daily show brought to you by Yam Yams and Starstruck Multimedia and Quasar Cult. Brought to you by a lot of people, actually. We do a lot. Anyways, this is where I hop on here and talk about daily news, things going on in the world, etc., so forth. But today we're not doing any of that because we're talking about my movie, The Bond. And I know a lot of you guys are probably wondering, like, man, you haven't talked about The Bond in a minute. What's up with that? What's up with that? What's up with that? Well, I'm gonna tell you what was going on with that because it was a whole thing, and I think it's interesting and it's an educational thing for those looking to just know about the film world and things like that, right? So, one of the things that was interesting about distributing this movie ourselves is the fact that you don't really have a lot of control as to when it's released. You can make suggestions and be like, hey, it'd be great if we could, release this film now or in the next month or so and give them a date. But it turns out that when you are not Jordan Peele or I don't know, Kanye West or something like that, they don't deprioritize you, I guess is the best way to put that. And so that's kind of what happens. And this is something that's actually a big thing in the film world right now, where a lot of independent filmmakers will release their movies through whatever channels, whether it's through Film Hub or Amazon Prime, et cetera, so forth, and they'll just get screwed. It's a whole thing right now, and that's something that we've actually kind of were prepared for in the sense that I definitely knew that it was going to be a thing. I had planned to release The Bond originally on July 4th, and I think I knew probably 2 weeks before, we had a feeling that it wasn't going to come out on July 4th. And so for me, it was like, all right, well, if that's the case, I guess I'm just going to go silent because I don't want to sit here and try to push a movie that's not out. But so the other thing about it is that, and this is another part of just the independent film world, just learning things, right? We had the film up on realhouse.com. And essentially, to keep it simple, realhouse.com is essentially like a Bandcamp for independent filmmakers. So you can put your film up there, people buy it, they can watch it on there, they can stream it on their TV, et cetera, so forth. It's essentially Bandcamp for filmmakers. And so because of this fun fact, I was like, all right, cool, that's tight. We could self-distribute it through the website and do our thing through there, which started off as a great idea. But then what ended up happening was that there ended up being a hiccup. And the hiccup was the fact that the whole site that we were hosting on decided to migrate to a new site. They didn't notify anybody. The only notification that you got on this is if you went to the website and saw the little messages that they give you saying that, hey, we're moving all our stuff over to this site. Be ready. That was the information to get. So they went ahead and moved all the stuff over, but they didn't. So when they tried to move it, none of the stuff was there. It didn't happen. It ended up being a whole thing. So what ended up happening was that the film got pulled from Real House and not put on projector. And so it was basically not out for like a good 3 weeks, which really hurt because I was out here doing this interview run, trying to hype the movie, et cetera, so forth, doing this and that. And it just wasn't synergizing with the fact that I was out here talking about this film, but people were not able to access the film. So it was a whole thing, kind of stressful. But now the film's up on projector, but I knew that the film was coming out on Prime anyways. So I was like, all right, well, whatever. We'll just wait for it to drop on Prime. So now it's out on Prime. So I'm imploring you and pushing you guys to go see my movie. There's a link in the comments. Go check that out. It was a very, very, very long, arduous, stressful, but beautiful process getting this film all the way up to this point. It's kind of crazy to think about because this all literally started with just like an idea and us just kind of just figuring this out as we went along. It's been like a journey of almost 3 years at this point, and now it's finally available in a public capacity that everybody is acceptable with, and now you guys can get the movie. So thank everybody involved. I'm not even gonna do. We're not doing a Grammy speech right now. We'll save that for later. But thank everybody that was involved in this film. You know, the whole process was just crazy, putting this all together and making this happen. It's one of those things where if you I'm gonna get kind of corny for a second, but you know, if you really believe in yourself and you really see yourself getting it done, then you can do it. And that sounds like super hella corny. I know it's like the corniest thing I could say, right? Like, but it's true. Like, it's really about manifestation, follow through, and it might take a long time. It might take longer than you want it to, but that's where patience comes in. Like, patience is probably like the craziest thing out there because everything changes with time. Whether it's your financial situation, whether it's your love life, whether it's any of that, all that changes with time. But the problem is, and a lot of this has to do with the state of society and all this stuff, like a lot of people don't want to put time in. And it sucks because we live in a generation and in a day and age where we want everything right now. We want it all now. If you don't have it now, then it's not good. We're gonna throw it away. And if you are willing to put in the work and put in the effort and actually put your head down and grind, you will learn that you can achieve anything that you really want to achieve if you're willing to sit down, put your head down, and do it. And I'm living proof of that. I'm living proof of that. Like, literally living proof of that, in the sense that I literally 7 years ago was fucking homeless, living on my friend's couch. No money, in debt. I mean, I'm still kind of in debt, but doing better. And now I'm married with a beautiful wife in a house. I'm in my own studio right now recording this. I have a very successful company. I've hired people. I just put out my own movie. You know what I'm saying? And like, all these things are beautiful. It's like, man, like, life is really what you make it. And it's one of those things where I try to just push people to just try to learn how to manifest. And I'm like, and I don't really like to talk about it like this because it makes me sound like I'm like a fucking, ooh, if you just manifest your reality, you can get it. But at the same time, that's really what it is, though. It really is like that. Like, it's not like, if you like, you can choose the reality that you want. I'm a big proponent, a component or a proponent of quantum mechanics and quantum physics and superimposed realities. And what I mean by that with quantum mechanics, if you're familiar, I'm glossing over this in a very layman's term, but the way quantum physics works is that it only really exists if you look at it. It only exists if you look at it. When you're not looking at it, it doesn't exist. Or it exists everywhere, basically, when you're not looking at it. When you're not looking at it, it's basically every possibility that it can be until you look at it. And then once you look at it, it is what it is. That's a very, very, very remedial, short version of quantum mechanics. But that's how life works. Whatever you look at is what is. And I know it's kind of confusing the way I'm explaining that, but the way that works with manifestation is that if you want that life, if you want to be a famous actor, if you want to be a rap star, if you want to put out a fucking movie, you got to look at it. You got to look at it. And not only do you have to look at it, you have to look at it and then move towards it, right? For it to exist. And also, you kind of have to have tunnel vision, because the second you look at something else, that becomes more possibilities, right? Because that's how quantum mechanic looks, or quantum mechanic works, in the sense that whatever you're looking at manifests. So the second that you turn, that is going to become more possibilities. So this is where tunnel focus comes into play. If you focus on it and you move towards it, it's more likely to manifest. This goes for anything in your life. If you want a better man or better wife or a better woman, manifest that. If you want to make millions of dollars, manifest that. If you want to make a movie, manifest that. Look towards that, superimpose it into your reality, and move towards it. It's the basics of quantum mechanics. This is why I never really worry about anything. It stresses out my wife a lot, but pretty much everything in my life just kind of slides off me when it comes to, like, I rarely get stressed out in this day and age. And it's mostly because I have been at the very bottom, and as I rise, it's just like, oh, that's cool, because at any point in time, it can all be taken away, right? The quantums could shift. Something might happen and outside that takes my focus away from things, right? And so, but also as I get older, I get wiser too. I get sharper and I get more in tune with the universe, to where even when things are around me, these different energy frequencies, I'm still locked in on one frequency. And even that gets kind of tricky because of the fact that life is life. You know what I'm saying? I have a son, you know what I'm saying? I have a wife, I have all these things going on in my life that are easily things that can take a person off their frequency, off those goals, and shift your mind state to someplace else. And that's basically what life is, right? Like, it's almost impossible to operate at a top tier frequency every single day, just being the best version of yourself. It's fucking impossible. That's not how life works. However, understanding the ebb and flow of life and not letting the momentum happen, right? So when you're feeling low, you stay low? No. When you're feeling high, understand that you will feel low at some point, because that's how life works. And I don't believe in a top, right? I don't believe that there's a peak, because going back to quantum mechanics, that peak can look different for a different person in different realities and different formats. And so going back to the Bond, right? I knew that I was going to get this movie out. I knew it. Despite all the bullshit that went through this movie, and trust me, there's a lot of it. A lot of stuff happened with this film. One day I will tell the story of the making of this film. But just know that the shit that we went through for this fucking film would shut down most people. 100%. And I'm not even like trying to talk like, oh, well, I'm better than these people. I'm just saying that, like, I'm kind of built for this shit. And because I'm built for this shit, I told you motherfuckers I was going to fucking do this. I was like, I'm going to put this fucking movie out. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. There was a lot of doubt. There's a lot of haters. A lot of people are like, nah. A lot of people are like, ah. I was like, no, it's going to happen. Why? Because I'm manifesting. I'm using my quantum mechanic logic to superimpose this into my reality and then move towards it and obtain it. Because that's how it works. And you can do this with anything. And I guess that's the whole point of this video. And I'm not going to spend too much time harping on this, because that's not even what this series is about. I just know that my movie's out. So you guys should go watch my movie, The Bond. There's a link in the comments. Go download it. I'll probably write a post thanking people, etc., so forth. So look for that. But for those who get the movie now, you're getting it at a cheaper cost. The movie is going to be raising in price over the next couple weeks or so. So, you know, I'd say get it now, because I don't want you hitting me up like a month later, like, why is it this much now? Instead, when I saw it at that much, and it's like, well, did you buy it at that much? No, I was gonna wait. Well, that's your fault. You should buy it now when it's at that much, because when it's at this much and you don't like it, you're gonna miss out. So that's just me speaking on that. I love you all. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here because my work emails are just blowing up right now. So let me go do my job and make some money and feed my family. I love you all. Stay safe. Dodge the monkeypox. You know what I'm saying? Boom, boom. Love you all. Peace. End scene.